Hey, this is Matt with Let's Talk Music, and I am here with Brock and Ava of Frame 42.
Hello.
Hello.
And guys, thanks for being on.
Thank you
Um,
for
Thank
having us.
I dig the sign back here. That's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you. That was a present um for Christmas. It's really cool though. We love it.
Yeah.
So you guys are brother and sister,
Yeah.
and you're in a band together. That's not complicated.
Um,
Well, at first, I think we were down a bass player and some of the other bandmates were like, let's get Brock in. And I'm like, no, he's my brother. He can't join the band. But he made it. He's actually pretty good,
yeah.
in my opinion, but I might be biased. But now I mean, we rarely ever fight. I mean, we fight as much as with the other members just from being around each other so much. It's just like family bickering, but I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah. And I was hired as the fill-in guy too, and they haven't told me if I'm in the band or not yet.
Oh well,
You're
that's
the
Oh yeah. Okay. It's
hey
been
there.
years, so I
Yeah,
hope.
there you go. You heard it here that he's officially in the band.
He's officially in the band.
So you're based out of Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're like right in the heart of Motown making rock and roll. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super cool. We love just all the venues out here. The Machine Shop in Flint is one of our favorites. It's just rock and roll, like good old fashioned, and it's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that place, but I've never been there. Which I need to make a point to get up there because I heard it's a really cool venue.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're ever in the area.
Awesome people too running the place.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's only maybe 4 hours from Columbus, if that. So yeah, it's not too bad of a drive.
Not too
So
bad.
you guys just come out with a new single,
Mhm.
um, which is Thicker Than Blood. Um,
Yes.
really cool song, Ava. I'm about to give you props on your voice.
Thank you.
When you get into towards the chorus, um, it really shines.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, have you taken any kind of vocal lessons, or is that just over time?
I have, but not till just a few years ago. I was taking, well, I've taken some piano and a little bit of voice lessons growing up with a girl named Deb Barber in Lapeer, and then kind of fell out of the voice lessons, and I was just doing my thing, but I would lose my voice like after every gig. And I also was playing volleyball at the time, which is like just all screaming. So I was having no voice. And Toby, our producer, hooked me up with a vocal coach in Nashville named Ron Browning. And so he was teaching me how I can like use my voice and sound like I'm pushing really hard when really it's all just kind of in the nose area. And it's a good trick.
Okay, because I mean, I know when I was in music class as a kid, they always told us that carrying long notes like that and stuff come from the diaphragm. So I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, it's I've talked to quite a few singers that have used vocal coaches, and I mean, it seems to work pretty well. And I mean, I even seen a thing on YouTube today that says learn how to sing any song, and I'm like, I couldn't carry if it was between life and death, I would be dead. I cannot carry a tune for nothing. I try, but it don't work. So, Brock, you went. How long you been playing bass, man?
Um, since 2017, so about 6 years now. I started playing guitar before that when I was like five or so about 2010. But I really started taking it seriously around 2017.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about the song. Obviously it's about relationships. Is that from personal experience or just something that you felt strong about?
Semi-personal experience. It came about um my friend and I were driving past a restaurant and saw this couple that like it was just a weird tension between them. Like they hugged and it was awkward. And I kind of started running with stories in my head like about what might have happened. And I kind of came to the idea that maybe they just broke up, maybe she's totally lost feelings, but he still has a little bit of feelings, and then kind of took that story and just wrote some lyrics out of it and put it to the instrumental that these guys had been working on. And luckily it all just came together pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a great song. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it. The chorus is my favorite part. Like I said, I think your voice shines a lot right there. Instrumentally, I mean, the song is well orchestrated. It's you guys did a hell of a job with it.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
So, Toby Wright is your producer. He's done Seven Dust, Alice in Chains, Kiss. I mean, that's some huge names. And
Yes.
you know, tell me about meeting him. How that all came about.
He's awesome. We met through a really close family friend, um, who's actually the owners of the studio that we're in right now.
Oh, okay.
And so they hooked us up to Toby, I want to say around 2018 or 2019. And we just hit it off and went into pre-production with the little scraps of songs that we had. And then we made our first EP that was a couple of years ago. So now we're back. We've hit the writing pretty hard and we've got about 14 songs, and are just ready to go. We're almost finishing up recording. If you hear some guitar, it's because Michael, our guitar player, is recording a solo upstairs right now.
Yeah.
So you say 14 songs. Are they all going to be on the album? Is it going to be an LP?
Yeah, we're gonna divide it 7 songs on EP1, 7 songs on EP2, and then eventually release a deluxe edition of all of them in one place with some extra bonus tracks.
Okay, cool. So what got you guys started making music? I mean, when did this start happening? And what was it that really just said, you know what, we want to play music?
Um, it probably was just throughout the process because we all like at least well, I've known Ava since I was born. So I guess for the rest of everybody, we all met through this music school run by Deb Barber, and she all hooked us up into different bands. And then I think it was just through the process of playing gigs where it was like, yeah, I kind of want to keep doing this as long as we can. So
I think we've always grown up with just such a fascination of music and especially rock. And we've talked kind of before just in the band about how classic rock is extremely prominent in the Midwest, which
Mhm.
is where we're from. And so we've always just grown up around it. We've been playing and taking lessons like at least since I was little. I got my first guitar at my kindergarten auction and then just started taking lessons then, and it's just always been there and a fascination and a passion of ours.
That's awesome. Now you say that you got your first guitar. So do you play any guitar at all in any of your songs?
I do. I play it on a song that is called Green Light, and it's got kind of a little bit of a country twang to it, if I might, but I think it sounds pretty cool.
So what about gigs? I mean, you guys have anything lined up for 2023, or are we just focusing on recording and releasing?
yeah, March 19th, we're playing at the Machine Shop for our EP release. And then the week after, we're going up to Wisconsin for Bratfest with Steven Adler. And,
Nice.
and we're playing on that Sunday. We're playing a show up in Coleman, Michigan with Three Dog Night. So,
Wow. Just
Yeah.
playing with some legendary people there.
yeah.
Yeah, some very, very exciting shows coming up.
Yeah, Steven Adler was just here, I want to say last summer, down in Marietta, Ohio. And I was going to go. I can't remember what came up that I wasn't able to make it, but I actually I drive a truck. That's my normal job. So my area is down in Marietta. And so I was talking to this guy and he was like, man, he put on a great show. I think it was him and I want to say Smile Empty Soul or something like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was, I mean, that dude, original Guns N' Roses drummer, and then you got Three Dog Night. I mean,
Mhm.
that's an awesome gig. And so
Yeah.
how do you guys work that out? I mean, how do you land stuff with those type of musicians? I mean, do you have like I don't know if PR people do that, or do you have like a booking agent?
Yeah, we are working with a booking agent named Evan right now. Um, but a lot of the times, just because we've established some connections, then like for Three Dog Night, is for a show that we've been playing the last couple years. And it's a really good cause. It's in support of veterans. It's I think Coleman Veterans Memorial is what it's called. So that's just cool. And we love playing there and we're so happy they asked us back. Um, but I'm pretty sure the Steven Adler one came through our booking agent.
So, like, what is your stage presence? Like, I mean, everybody's got kind of a theme when they're on stage. Do you guys have any type of theme, or do you just kind of just go out there and say, "Hey, we're here, we're jamming, jam with us"?
Pretty much some just rock and roll, just
Yeah,
whatever happens. But I do kind of like to move my hands a lot.
yeah. Like I know that I try to keep it as natural as possible, just because like I feel like with a lot of shows you can tell if it's sort of orchestrated, like this person is going to walk here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to, go with the flow, and I that's what everybody else does, and but I think it all comes together to make a pretty good show.
So, are you guys more of a live band than a recording band? I mean, do you prefer to be out on stage and interacting with the crowd?
That's interesting. I've heard that before, that some musicians really love to just stay in the studio. Some of them love to get on stage. And for me, I feel like it's equal, but I do love performing probably a little bit more. But I do love the creativity that comes through recording and, oh, we should try this. Oh, what would this sound like? That's really fun.
Yeah, I'd have to agree too.
Yeah, I mean, I have talked to quite a few that are like, we're a live act. We love playing live. They draw a certain energy off of the crowd, and that just revs them up, and they just they play harder and harder, and it's like that's awesome stuff. I mean, but then again, like you said, you got the studio musicians too, but I mean, course you got to cut your record or got to cut your singles or whatever you're cutting, and then you got to get out there and play them. So it would
Yeah.
be 50-50. So the EP is coming out in May.
Yep.
Yes.
And am I able to hear what it's called? Or
Yeah, this one's gonna be just self-titled, so frame 42. And then
awesome.
yeah.
What was the first one called?
Undercroft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so like with this is what's so cool about what I do. I get to meet a lot of new people all the time, and I get to hear a lot of new music that I wouldn't hear otherwise. These publicists, they send me releases like daily, and I'll listen to it, and I've never turned a band down. I don't feel like the band deserves that, and I'm not an interview snob. I'll interview anybody. I'll talk to anybody. I'm just a
Mhm.
social person, and I like you guys. I love music, have a passion for music, and this is my way of being part of it. So,
Yeah.
it's just been really awesome to hear all these bands from everywhere. And I mean, I think you guys are maybe the second or third young band that I've done. The youngest so far was a drummer named Thomas Thunder. He, I want to say, is 13 years old,
Oh wow.
Wow.
but phenomenal. I mean, he's got his own little studio in his bedroom, and just great talent. He's actually going. He's got he might have been 15. I can't remember. Either way, he's going to high school and he's also enrolled in Berkeley.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I mean, I was like really excited to do that one. It was just I was like, man, I've never seen a kid that young and rocking the drums, so like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
speaking of like stuff like that, like where do you guys draw your influence from? Like, who are your when you sit down and say, I sing like this because of who?
I think it's kind of cool because we all have different influences. Like I really like 60s and 70s rock more than like Brock likes the harder, heavier metal stuff. Um Same with, Michael and Ben, like the harder rock, like Avenged Sevenfold and, Alice in Chains. And then Lucas, our drummer, is has a lot of funk influences and R&B. But I gotta say, my biggest influence is probably the Beatles. Just I love their songwriting and their melodies and their lyrics, and it's kind of just inspires me to be a better songwriter, and just overall musician.
I'd
Hey,
say, oh, sorry.
you're fine. Go ahead. I was just
Oh,
gonna say
oh,
that's an awesome,
okay.
awesome explanation there. I like that.
Thank you.
I'd say for me, in terms of like the overall package of being a musician, Eddie Van Halen is where I drew my biggest inspiration. Just like he had the look, he had the guitar, he had the stage presence, the writing, the chops, the whole 9 yards. And so I've always been pretty partial to Van Halen. And then recently I've been getting more into the death metal side with Meshuggah is my current favorite band, and then Death. I also love them, and Gojira, all those types of stuff. So
I've listened to a variety of things myself, man. I mean, like you, I'm kind of 70s, 80s, 90s. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I feel like I'm a huge hair metal guy. Poison, Warrant, Dokken, bands like that. And it's like I was in that mind frame that nothing will ever replace that. And then my son started, just playing different random bands for like Under Oath and just a few bands like that. And I was like, okay, they're screaming. What's so cool about it? And then I started really to listen to it, and I was like, so this is really cool. I like it. And you got the really cool breakdowns in that music and stuff. And I was just like, this is really cool. So, that's you can't do this and be closed minded, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, you have to give everything a shot. And I mean, I'm still trying to land a R&B or a country band, just to kind of get my diversity out, because it's most of my stuff has been all rock or I've done a couple of like singer songwriters, that you would probably place in maybe light R&B, adult contemporary stuff like that. So, it's been freaking awesome. And I mean, to see the talent, that you guys have at such a young age is really nice too. I mean, you're just getting started, it's your future is wide open for you.
Thank
Some of
you.
these guys I talk to, they've been in the game for 30, 40 years and they're like, yeah, man, we just want to get out and jam. We don't care.
Yeah.
We've done the label deals, we've done this, we've done that. We want to jam. So
Yeah.
speaking of which, any chances of signing with a label or
We'll see if the right contract comes around.
yeah,
I think it'd be something we really have to talk about, and probably not jump for the first thing that's given. Just try to be a little bit like smart about it. But yeah, if the right one comes along, that would be awesome.
well, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with being, DIY either. I mean,
But
you got a lot more freedoms than what you have with a label, but then, with the label, you got the big backing and everything. So
right,
it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But I mean, it's I've talked to guys that have, been with labels and they've said, you know what, we're DIY and that's the way we're staying. We love it, and then the other way around. So Um, and you got a lot up there in Detroit.
Yeah.
So, do you guys get any radio play up there?
A little bit, but not really too much yet. But it is cool when it does happen. Like today on the radio, I was talking to one of our local DJs, Maggie Meadows, and then she gave us a shout out on the radio, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, but no, on like a mainstream radio, not really too much yet, but we are on playlists
I'll
and
say,
Spotify
man,
and Apple Music.
it's got to be cool to hear yourself, you know.
Yeah, it's cool. And then it's also like I hate the sound of my voice right now. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, that I mean, everybody's their own hardest critic, you know. And you, like I said, you have a very strong, awesome voice, and I think you know, I would say that you're right where you need to be. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I've got a pretty good ear for music, and I was, I'm like, this girl can jam. I honestly thought, when I first got the press release, I really didn't read through it. I just, I hit the song and started listening to it, and I was like, oh, she's got to be, 25, 26 years old. And then I see the press release and it says, all under 21. I'm like, well, okay then.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, talent doesn't really have an age. You know what I mean? You are born with it, you develop it, and you either do something with it or you say, yeah, I'm gonna do something else.
yeah, like that drummer that you're talking about that's like 13 years old and he's in Berkeley, and it's just kind of what you feel. Sometimes you just know what to do just naturally.
Oh yeah, he's just like, I love music and music is my life. And I'm like, hey, good for you. I mean, it's mine to a certain extent. I mean, I'm here, at 9 o'clock at night after a long day at work talking to you guys, and I had another band out of Michigan that I was supposed to talk to, but something came up, and Horizon Theory. Have you guys heard of them?
I have seen, yeah, I think we've played at similar venues before because I can like picture their logo right now on a sticker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I was like, well, I felt kind of like, I got stood up, man. But
Oh,
no, I know stuff comes up. It's okay. I mean, yeah, I've had to do it too. Life happens. There's been times that I've had. That's why I always set my interviews so late, is because I never know what time I'm gonna get done working. And I figure 8 o'clock is a good time, but it's some people are like, man, can we do like 5 or 6? I'm like, I'm not gonna be available. So, but yeah, I mean, the video, it's a lyric video, but it's really freaking cool. So who put that together?
that was 12-inch media. They're super cool. We have some more info on them on our Instagram. But yeah, that was really cool. And I love the hands thing in the chorus. That was kind of like a cool surprise when I saw that. I was like, I love that. It's like perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're super cool.
You guys just dropped this one. What are we looking at time wise for the next one?
I don't know if we can say yet, but expect it in the next couple months. I think it will be a safe bet.
Yeah.
Now, is there going to be a video for that one, or is it going to be just another lyric video?
I think that's still a secret.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I understand. Now, like, what have you guys done videos before?
Yeah, we worked with a guy that's pretty close to us in Michigan named Paul Raymond. So he did some of our music videos. I think we might have 2 or 3. But he's really cool and it's always fun to do a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been like, I talked to a lot of people about that. I'm like, hey, that video looked like you guys had a killer time, and they're like, oh yeah, man, it was so much fun. and it's funny too because like I talked to the lead singer from a band back in the day called Steelheart,
Mhm.
and I brought up this video or song, and he's like, yeah, I remember that one. He says, we spent like $250,000 on the video. And I'm like, holy cow, and it's like nowadays, and that was the thing too, because you had MTV, so you had this big production, and then they sent it to MTV and it got aired. With YouTube and all the other platforms, it's kind of a lot simpler for you guys. You can get some friends with some video cameras and do a bunch of funny stuff or whatever you want to do, and you got somebody that can edit it real well and put it together, and there you go, you got something for a few $100s.
Yeah.
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 So it's like, I mean, the way that times have changed with music, and I mean it's going to continue long after us, everything, it does, but it's it was always, you had to go out and buy a cassette tape or a CD or a record or an 8 track. You had MTV, I think, aired in 1982, I think it was. And it was a huge thing. I mean, look at Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's like, I think it's still the most expensive video ever shot.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Just crazy. But I mean, you guys, you're definitely in an age where you have an advantage. The only thing that I kind of dislike about today's I want to say music business is there's really not much of a tangible thing anymore. You don't get, the records or I mean, vinyl's making a comeback, but like
Yeah.
I loved cassette tapes. I loved taking the tape out after I just bought it and unwrapped it, throwing it in my tape player, hitting play, opening up the jacket, and reading all about the production of it, reading, the little liner notes, the lyrics. And we can't do that now with streaming. So that's why we kind of have Facebook and whatever. You guys can, I guess, post your information up there, but you know
Yeah.
so
It's more to get a physical copy too. Plus like CDs, like some of our CDs, you open it and there's like a poster in it. You
mhm.
don't get little presents or goodies in streaming,
Yeah.
except for the.
I know, and it was back in the day too. Like you had all the magazines like Hip Prater and stuff like that. I used to buy them, and they would have 3 or 4 posters, and my wall was just covered in them. I mean, so I had like a few tapestries. I think it was Pink Floyd, Megadeth, Metallica, that was in my room. I mean, it literally looked like, just a freaking studio. I mean, there was
That's
music, there was music everywhere, and I had one of them big rack systems that just jammed. So,
that's
but,
cool.
what about? I mean, do you guys think that in the future you may press any kind of vinyl or anything?
Definitely. If it we get the option to, we definitely will.
Yeah. That'd be cool just to say that you have something on vinyl. It's just like, yeah, I think it's just crazy expensive to produce. But that would be cool someday.
Yeah, I mean, it'd just be, really cool for you guys. So, say 20 years down the road, you could be holding that first album that you had pressed and be like, I made this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll look into just getting one pressed and we can all keep it and treasure it.
Yeah. I actually just made a short, I think it was yesterday. I got a new record player. It's Victrola, which is one of the original ones. And of course it's modernized, but it's an old vintage looking one, and freaking love it. I got, Eagles, Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard, stuff like that. I mean, and that to me, that crackling and popping sound of a record is
Yeah.
just nostalgic.
Especially on like a slow song and you get that crackle
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
the
Do you guys have any ballads?
we
Yes.
do. Let me try to I think we have four four ballads, right?
4 new
One
ones.
half a ballad. Yeah.
Half ballad. But
3.5.
yeah,
3.5.
ballads are fun. Ballads are one of my favorites to do just because it's just like letting it all out. But I'm excited for these ones to come out.
Okay, cool. Well, final question for you guys. What is your recording process like? I mean, when you go into the studio, are you primarily the one that writes the lyrics and then you guys add the music, or do you all sit down and say, hey, this is how we want it to go?
It's kind of very rarely, sometimes I'll bring in a song and it's like, hey guys, I wrote this, you guys want to try it out, and we'll add to it. And but most of the time one of the guys will say, like, I wrote this riff, let's write something to it. And then once they get a solid foundation, then I go and sit and kind of just sing gibberish and melodies to try to find the words and what rhythm I like the words in. And then I come out and I'm like, hey guys, I did this. And then we got a song.
Right.
But for recording,
Yeah, we for recording we do it live. So when we're tracking drums and bass and the rhythm guitars, we're actually standing in a small room. It's actually where we're sitting right now. We're done tracking, got rid of all the drums and stuff. But what you're hearing in terms of the drums, bass, and then some of the rhythm guitars is actually us standing together and jamming out, and we get that really solid feel.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me this evening.
Thanks
thank
for
you
having us.
us.
I will get it edited and up on Facebook, and or not well, it goes on my Facebook too, but on YouTube, and I'll send it to Lulu or Raquel, and I'll if you want, I can send it through your Facebook or however you want to do it, and hopefully it gets you guys out there, because like I said, you got a lot of talent in that band, and I think you guys got a bright future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, you have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Bye.